Hello, 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 my art friends. Welcome back to another Art Life Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Folsom, and I'm super excited for today's conversation. Get ready, y'all, because I'm about to open up a can of whoop ass on you. No, I'm just kidding. No, but for real, this is a serious topic, and I try to focus on topics that I see that are the most sabotaging to artists, that have been the most sabotaging to me, things that I've had to deal with and overcome. And what I've seen so many artists fall into traps of, and basically just sabotage their own success. So that's not what we want, right? I want every single artist out there to be their most fully realized, full potential, fully maximized, most successful selves, because the world needs more artists. All right. So that is the point of this podcast, is just hopefully for me to be able to help inspire you guys to be that person, to step more fully into that person, and make this world a better place. Okay. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about do not underestimate small wins. And I'm talking like teeny tiny little baby wins that almost seem like failures sometimes, right? So let's look at some examples, right? So let's say, for example, you are on a mission to build your email list. And you have a small following on Instagram or Facebook, and you decide, yes, this is the time I am going to start building my email list, attract some collectors to sign up for my email list. So maybe you come up with a special, limited time giveaway or contest or something like that to try to get people to sign up on your email list. So let's say this is a situation. You do all this work, you make all these social media posts, you're super excited about it, right? You're trying to get other people excited about it. And a lot of times, if you're like me, you think, oh my gosh, this is just going to be like, everybody's going to jump on this. Who wouldn't want this, and that it's all going to turn out, amazing. And then you get to the end of your giveaway or your contest or whatever special thing that you're offering, and only to realize that, let's say, just a few people signed up on your email list, 5 people, 10 people, whatever the case may be. It's super, super tempting at that point to go, well, that didn't work. And it's super tempting to say that didn't work. It's super tempting to get very disappointed in the outcome and then to stop doing it, to stop short and to not try again and to not do it consistently. And to just go, well, that idea didn't pan out, so I'm not doing it again. And here's what I have learned over the last 14 years. You cannot underestimate those small, teeny, tiny, minuscule wins. You cannot shortchange a small audience, right? Let's say you're offering your first class, and you only get a couple of people signed up. You cannot look at that as a failure, right? This is just the first step. It's the first step. And guess what, my friend? If this is happening to you, it happened to me too. And you do not get to jump the line, right? Everybody has to go through the same process. So I want to encourage all of you, if you're in that situation and you're seeing like such minuscule results from the effort that you're putting in, please do not give up. Please do not stop short. Please do not believe that doesn't work. You're going to have to build. And I really see this, and in my experience, how it's worked is that this really works like, what is the interest? Oh my gosh, I just lost the word. like the interest, the accumulated interest. Oh my goodness gracious! Like with investing, right? Whenever basically it's going to build over time. Oh goodness. I just wrote this word down earlier in my journal and now it's just flown from my brain. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. So in my experience, that is how this works. Your initial audience will be very small, right? Your initial following on Instagram will be very small. If you're teaching, the initial signups for your class will be very small. Okay. If you're trying to build your email list, your initial email signups will be very minimal, right? Now, if you give up and stop short because you just think, well, I don't have a lot of people. I'm not making a lot of painting sales. I'm not getting a lot of people on my email list, whatever the case is, and you just quit. Or you go, well, that didn't work. You get disappointed and discouraged about it. And then you wait 6 months to get up the nerve to try it again. Guess what? You're just prolonging your results. If you're just, taking action once every 6 months or once a year or even once every 3 months, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Okay. So the name of the game here is all about perseverance, patience. You got to have patience and you have to persevere. You have to persevere, right? You have to be consistent and persistent in your efforts, whether it's your paintings, whether it's your email list, your social media following, okay? So this will accumulate and build over time. You will begin to build momentum, right? So there's like a phenomenon that starts to happen with this momentum that the more you build and the more you grow, the more it seems to just multiply and snowball. Okay, now everybody wants to get to the multiplying and the snowballing like immediately. It does not work that way. Okay, you got to start with one single snowflake, right? And then build a little snowball and then add more and add more and add more and add more. This is the law of life, right? This is nature. This is how it works. So nobody gets to jump the line, I'm not saying, don't try to improve your strategy or don't try to improve the technique or improve your skill set, in your marketing. I'm not saying that. Yes, you definitely always want to be paying attention to what worked and what didn't work, taking courses, signing up for, classes, reading free information online on how to improve the results. But I know, like, for example, like in the Instagram world and YouTube, things like this, it feels like a lot of times people are like chasing this, it's kind of like a get rich quick thing, right? Where, if I can only come up with like this one reel, or get like a viral post or a viral video, boom, I'll just explode, into greatness all of a sudden. And I really look at it like a get rich quick scheme, or for example, lottery winners, lottery winners who, let's say, win millions of dollars, most of the time don't keep those millions of dollars. They don't know what to do with those millions of dollars because they have not transformed themselves and grown themselves into becoming a millionaire, right? So there's a man from the 80s, a motivational speaker who I love, Jim Rohn, and he would say, if you want to be a millionaire, best you become a millionaire. You become someone who can earn and take care of and maintain $1 million. And it has very little to do with just having the money, right? So I see it the same way, like in our art businesses. Like if you want to be someone, if you want to have, 10,000 people on your email list, you better start being the person today that works towards that, right? Because you're not going to get that instantly. So let's say, for example, you got 10 people signed up. You put in all this work and you ended up with 10 people on your email list, right? Like that is amazing. That's actually a lot, especially if you're starting off if you're just starting from scratch and you're starting off with a very small audience. That's actually a really great result. So what I would do in these cases is just you building on those small wins, building on those little wins instead of thinking of it like you didn't get enough or that wasn't very much or maybe it wasn't worth your time. I like to look at it like, okay, if I did that every week, if I got 10 people every week, that's 40 people a month. That's 480 people by the end of the year. So let's get this cooking, let's keep going. Let's do this again. And what you'll find is when you start to do that, guess what? You're probably going to end up, when you do it consistently, day in, day out, week after week, week after week, and you keep doing the same thing and you keep drawing people in, you get them on your email list, right? Then actually what's going to end up happening is that you're going to end up with more than 480 people by the end of the year because you're going to start to accumulate, right? That momentum is going to start building, and the bigger number of people you get following you and get on your list, the more and more and more rapidly it's going to begin to grow. Now, like I said, you can also in the process, begin to strategize and try to come up with ideas that would just maximize that more or attract even more people in, right? But if you stop just at that first, let's say, that first time I attempted to get people to sign up on my email list, which I had to do too, right? Like I just didn't start out with like, oh, everybody just wants to sign up for my email list, right? Or just everybody just wants to buy my paintings, right? No, I had to start like with one thing at a time and with small rewards at a time and small outcomes at a time. And here's the other thing, like you don't want to go big right away, right? Because most of us are not ready in the beginning. I look back on some of the first in-person classes I taught at Lime Art Association in Connecticut. My very first class had 4 people in it. Only 3 people were interested in the class. One of the people who signed up just told me that this wasn't what she expected, and she just brought her own stuff and sat in the corner and didn't want any feedback from me. You know what I mean? So this is the stuff that we have to go through. But I will say, like, the person I was when I first started teaching with only 4 people in the classroom, I would not have been able to handle 20 people, 30 people, let alone teaching 500 people, So there would just be no way that I would have been able to handle that immediate large number or large group. I just hadn't matured enough. I hadn't grown enough. My skill set was very weak in my teaching at the time. It was my first class. The only experience I had teaching before that was with 3 little teenagers one-on-one, ages 13 to 16, right? Like that was like my beta group was teenagers one-on-one. And then the very first adult class I ever taught with those 4 people was 4 people at once. And doing the demo was very hard. Knowing how to help them was very hard. Knowing how to communicate things to them was very difficult and very hard. Dealing with the self-doubt of being a beginning artist. Like I was just out of art school, I was filled with insecurity and self-doubt. So just dealing with that, like, oh my gosh, I'm such a amateur, I'm such a hack, poser, whatever, all this like negative self-talk that was inside of me at the time. And like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be trying to help these people who are older than me. They've probably been painting longer than me, some of them. What if I don't know more than them? What if I don't know how to answer a question? So trust me, trust me on this, you do not want to start out with like bigger success in the beginning. You want to build. And here's the other thing, like, don't ever underestimate small wins or small audiences, because you don't know where they're going to lead. You don't know who's going to be on that list. It only takes one person. Let's say 10 people signed up for your email list. It only takes one person out of those 10 people to say, you know what, I love your artwork and I am ready to buy it, and I'm ready to buy a lot of it. You know, you don't need a ton of collectors, right? You only need a good handful of collectors in order to make a wonderful living as an artist, right? I'll never forget, in Oklahoma, I was invited to participate in a little outdoor festival, Norman, Oklahoma. And it wasn't even like a pure arts festival. It was, just kind of a city thing. I think it was put on by the fire department. But the art center there's like a little tiny small art center there where I was trying to get some classes going. And again, moving to a different state, it was like, again, you're starting over from scratch, So we were having a really hard time getting these classes filled at this little art center in Norman, Oklahoma. And so I think there was only like a couple people who had signed up. And so the director was like, hey, well, why don't you come down, to this festival and maybe do some demonstration, right? At the festival, and try to, promote your class. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I had to do in order to build. It was over 100 degrees. It was like it was around the 4th of July. It was like 100 degrees. If y'all have ever been to Oklahoma, you know it is freaking hot and sweaty and humid there. And here I am hauling my TV tray, which is what I had to put my supplies on at the time, and my French easel, which was so heavy I had to park way far away. Anyways, so just painting the picture for you, right? Like, this is a stuff that you're doing, and while you're doing it, you're thinking, I cannot believe I am doing this, and I'm doing it for free, right? So that's sometimes the attitude that we can kind of get into, is thinking, I'm better than this, and maybe you are. Maybe your future self is better than that, and that's okay. But, you have to build. You have to start somewhere, and you have to build on these small wins. So the point being that doing this festival, the whole time during the festival, people are just walking by. I'm just painting like a made up still life, because there was no way to set up a still life. There's no spotlight. There's just lights everywhere. So I'm just kind of making up a still life and painting it. And every now and then I would look back and like nobody would be watching, or maybe a little kid would be watching. And then eventually I looked back one time, and this couple had pulled up chairs, a husband and wife. They had pulled up chairs and sat behind me. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. They're liking what I'm doing enough that they're just, popping a squat and enjoying the show here. And so then I painted, for like another 30 minutes. I'm not talking or anything because it's so loud. Like, there's live music, all this kind of stuff going on. And so I'm just painting, and look back about 30 minutes later, and that couple is still sitting there watching me. And so I stopped painting, went over there, introduced myself, and we had a really great conversation. And come to find out, the woman was a lawyer in the area there, and she had always wanted to be an artist. She'd always wanted to learn how to paint. So this one woman, one person in my audience that night, ended up becoming a longtime student, a longtime friend, a collector, over the years. And so I'm sharing this story with you to say, like, you never know who's going to be in that audience. You never know. I mean, these are real people, okay? So sometimes whenever we're doing stuff online and we're just looking at numbers, right? Like, what's my number today on my likes or my following on Instagram? Don't forget, you guys, these are real people. who can become real customers, real students, real collectors, real relationships, real friendships, real opportunities. Sometimes it's somebody in the audience that sees you and you're showing up at your best, They feel your energy and how you're showing up, and they can come up to you and say, "Oh my God, I love what you do, and how would you like to take advantage of this opportunity?" So as the saying goes, opportunity comes to those who knock. Not just knock once, knock, 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 knock. You are persistently, consistently, incessantly knocking and finding satisfaction along the way in the small wins. So do not underestimate and do not begrudge and do not belittle these small wins. Do everything you can to find the most maximum satisfaction in those small wins, because energy builds on energy. Attitudes and moods build on attitudes and moods. Have you ever noticed that? Like, the grumpier you are, the grumpier you get. And for some reason, positive energy feels more difficult to build than negative energy. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed that, but we could quickly go from like feeling great that day and then something happens and all of a sudden we're in a bad mood, right? So you want to build the positive energy and blow it up. Blow up those small wins. Really blow them up and see them for their absolute fullest potential. Like, there could be one person out of these 10 people that signed up that's going to buy all of my artwork or give me an opportunity that's going to pay my bills for the year. Like, that is possible. It's possible. So, anyways, with this episode, I hope that I have stimulated your imagination and the possibilities that are out there, even if you're seeing some small beginning results right now. Don't stop short. I would say that's probably the only thing that I have ever done is I have never stopped short. I have never given up. I have always stayed consistent. You can give up for a few days or even for a week, but you can't give up for a month. You can't give up for months. You're never going to get to where you want to be if you do that, okay? So try your best to not give up longer than just a few days, right? And try to get back into that positive energy state so that you can keep going and you can keep building and become the artist that you want to be. Okay, my friends, I hope that this is helpful to you. I would love to hear from you. You can always email in at info@artlifewithkelly, KELLI.com. Let me know what you thought of this episode. And also, quick reminder too, as we go here, that enrollment is closing. The doors are closing for Vital Art Sessions and the Art Life School Annual Package on the 20th at midnight. Be sure to go to artlifewithkelly.com and go check these offerings out, because you will not be able to get back in until March, and this program can really change your artistic life. If you like what you're getting here, you are going to love what you will get in the Art Life School program or in Vital Art Sessions. Okay, my friends, have a wonderful day, and I'm wishing you all an amazing 2022. Make sure you fill it with beauty and with art and share that with your world. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye.